Bună dimineața tuturor. Hello everyone. I'm Antonio Sandu from Ștefan cel Mare University of Suceava. I'm here to talk with you on ethics in doctoral research. I have the great pleasure and honor to be re-elected as member in National Committee for approval of university titles, including PhD titles, doctoral titles. So I had this experience to be for the second time in the assembly that in a national environment make the guidelines for what PhD studies are. So first of all, I like to say that PhD research is very important in formation of human resources in research. It's very important to have good doctorate studies, good doctoral schools. So a few things about what are the rules to have engaged in doing PhD studies in Romania. First of all, the first rule that could be invoked is having no plagiarism in the paper. That's how academic ethics start to be studies in Romania. Why? Because plagiarism, to take someone's work and take it as it been yours, is a plague for academical environment, because it's fake and falsifies the whole education and research process, because we cannot have trust in the study. So first of all, why plagiarism is not allowed? Because falsifying the results of others and saying it's ours could lead to mistrust in academical results. All what research is about have new knowledge and have trust in knowledge and trust in the results of research of the people. So if the researcher falsifies his own paper, we cannot trust in the results, and we cannot trust in what he has to say. And about this, we should eliminate the paper and even eliminated the researcher from community because of mistrust, of misconfidence in the paper and in the entire work of this candidate or of this professor, because plagiarism could appear also in researchers with experience and even in works of professors. Here in Romania we had some cases of the university teachers or professors that have plagiarized their own works. We confront with some politicians that have also PhD degrees and they plagiarize their own work. So it's a case of mistrust in their academical work, but also in their political work, because if you steal in academic work, you can be suspect that you steal in other works that you do, and so on. But this problem of trust goes not only in of the plagiarism problem, but also to the results of research. So many times we can publish papers. In Romania, to obtain a PhD degree, you have to publish at least a few papers in the field of your research. at least 2 papers in international peer-reviewed journals. This paper should present your results. Why? Because an international advisor, international advisory board of the journal, the peer reviewer, is a way to control the quality of the paper, the quality of research, of the results of the research that will after the publication we will take part in your PhD thesis. So it's a supplementary control of the quality of the thesis if you publish some parts of it in international journals. So it's important. But this at this level, many PhD students came to us. I'm also a publisher, a director of Lumen publishing house from Iași, Romania, an international publishing house that we have almost 20 international peer-reviewed journals. 3 of them are covered in Web of Science. So we receive many papers from PhD students and from other kind of researchers. Many of them come from also from Ukraine. So we have a good relationship with the Ukrainian academic community, and with this occasion I have to give a salutation to your academic community. So we have received so many papers that are not a real research. There are papers where some students, doctoral students, just analyze. It is important to say that we have to make literature reviews for our thesis, but only literature reviews is not acceptable for publication in the journals, because you have to add news and new results and new contribution to the scientific field where you make your PhD. So for us, as publishing house, as for me as PhD advisor, more important is what are the contribution, the original contribution of a PhD student to the field. So if it's just a presentation of the already written papers, it's important for as a standing point for your research. But this is not what we want to have from our PhD students. What we want to have is their proof that they start well in their research career, and to start well is to have some contribution to the field. And this is more important. The thesis should have some original contribution to the field, and the research should have a gap. A gap is a problem. A problem that are not well enough developed in the field of the specific science. So when you, as a researcher, a PhD researcher or a senior researcher, you try to start a new research, a new study, you have to select a problem that are not enough solved already in the literature, because to solve again a problem that are already solved is not worthy for anyone. So my point of view is I always advise my doctoral students to show what are the original contribution, and also when I make reviews for publication of the paper or for a PhD thesis, I try to find what are the real original contributions. So starting from non-plagiarism, that is the basically and the most important topic in ethics. In ethics, we derive the problem of originality of the paper. So the research should have original content, original information, and original part of the study. So in order to be original, you have to have access and read the scientific literature. As Professor Patrukevich says, it's important to understand and read in English language, because now English is one of the most important language in promoting science and in publications. Most of the journals are published, international journals that address to international community are published in English. Many of our journals in Lumen Publishing House are also in English. So that's why, because many people around the world access and understand English, so it's more accessible to publish in English to a worldwide scientific community, not only the community in your own country. But it's also important to publish papers and research in your own language, for us in Romanian, in Ukrainian, for colleagues in Ukraine. But publication, the papers that are addressed to a large worldwide community, it's important to be published in English. So if you publish in English, you have to read, could read at good level the paper that are already published in English, in order not to say the same things again that other researchers already talk about and already publish this paper. So it's very important to understand foreign language, English, French, Spanish. So another important topics in PhD research and in PhD advices is that the candidate has own individual academic curriculum. When you came into the PhD school, you have to prove that you already make some own research in MA, in master's degrees, or in BA on license study. But in PhD, you have to learn what international and real research are in an international environment. Other ethical things that we try to follow in ethical advising of PhD, and is more important in social sciences, but not only in social science, in every kind of sciences, but I speak from the social sciences point of view, is not falsifying data. When you receive some data, when you collect the data, there is temptation to falsify it, to show your own point of view, your own hypothesis, to prove your hypothesis. So it's important not to falsify data, to present real data, even if that contradicts your own hypothesis, and prove that your hypotheses are wrong. Because in science, we advance even if our hypotheses are contradict and is not verified, because the future scientist should not prove the same hypothesis again if it's refuted by your own research. And the methodology should be made in an ethical way, in which you do not intervene in collecting data and with your own subjectivity. So your own subjectivity does not have to verify your hypothesis because you try to do so. You have to have an epistemological and anthropological neutrality and detachment. So these are some aspects that I can present now about making good ethical research and in PhD studies. So if you have another questions or other problems to discuss, I'm very glad to answer to your questions.
We are cordially grateful for your information, very valuable, and interesting for us. And as aptly outlined, Professor Esa Camelia, you are a really expert within the program for PhD students. Thank you.
Thank you very much.